slow ahead. I can go slow ahead. Come on down and chum some of this shit.
Hiya, Georgie.
The danger must be growing, for the rowers keep on rowing, and they're certainly not showing any signs that they are slowing.
As you just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
What's your biggest fear? Everyone's got one. Growing up, I was surrounded by fear. Fear of thunder and lightning, what other people thought of me, sharks at the beach. And as I got older, those fears, they matured with me. They became fears of loss, of failure. I was even afraid to chase my own dreams. But what if there was a way to eradicate all of those fears? What if it was pretty simple? I think I might have found it. If we can face our biggest fear, and I mean look them dead in the eyes and say, I beat you, then where would all the little fears have to go? What would be left?
I'm Billy, and we did this on my passion for wildlife photography. I know usually Jack's Love What You Do segments are done on people who do what they love for a living. I like my job, but I work a regular 9 to 5, and then in my free time, I do what I can to get out there and take pictures of animals. Sharks have been my favorite thing since I was a little kid. I had a barber when I was like 5 or 6 years old who was obsessed with sharks, and every time I got my haircut, he would drill into my head that sharks were the coolest thing. When he passed away, his brother gave me a bunch of his shark memorabilia, some of which I still have. So I think that kind of ingrained into my mind as a kid, sharks are really cool. Once I graduated college, I went for a shark dive and really loved it and was telling all my friends about it, and that was really kind of where it ended. I couldn't show them what I had done. And then I went to Alaska. The goal of going to Alaska was to see orcas, see bears, and propose to my girlfriend. I bought a camera for the first time right before Alaska, had no idea what I was doing, and don't really have any great footage from Alaska, but my wife said yes, so the proposal was obviously a success. While I was in Alaska, we were going whale watching. We were in Juneau at the time, and we're pulling up to the dock to get on this boat. The dock's about a 200-yard gap. It's like a 200-yard dock, and the lady and husband, it was a British couple, they look at us and they're like, we can't make this walk. The guy's basically like, this is not wheelchair accessible, my wife's got MS and she can't walk 200 yards. And the husband looked at me and was like, can you help? So we carry her to the boat. They don't have any cameras, but they're just there to see animals and the world while she still can. She was able-bodied enough to travel, not enough to walk. We go, we hit it off with them, have a great time, and after I was able to tell them, hey, when I get these pictures done, like I'll be able to send you some stuff. And I sent over a few of the pictures that I had just at the time from that day. I don't ever know what happened with those people. We never spoke again, but that kind of gave me an idea where, okay, I want to be able to show people animals who can't see animals on their own time, or who don't have the ability to travel, or honestly maybe don't even have an interest in animals because they haven't seen them and they don't know what interest could be uncovered. So that's really how I got my start in wildlife photography. I don't really know how it started. I think it was with Greg. Greg had said he would be interested in doing a shark dive, and then I saw Reed. He was obviously all in, and I hadn't seen a lot of those guys in a while. Reed reached out to Kanata, I believe, or maybe you did, and we reached out to you because I know you had been wanting to get into some wildlife photography. And most of the wildlife photography I do takes place down in Jupiter, Florida. There's some awesome dive crews down there, and I've become relatively friendly with some of them. I love going down to their boat. They treat us really well, and they let me bring my friends on. And it's always a really positive experience. We went down, you go to Florida, the group gets together. Basically, we're gonna be free diving with sharks. We don't know what species until we get in. Usually it depends on the time of year, what's gonna be there. I think we had silky sharks and bull sharks when we were down there. It's a really great experience. It's a great way for people to get in front of sharks in a relatively safe environment. I know there's a lot of dive boats that do stuff in more of a sketchy manner. At this point in time, I've now been lucky enough to dive in a couple different countries and with a lot of different companies. And the group that I dive with down in Florida is by far the safest and best. So making sure that we have, a safe experience with the animals, because there is inherent risk to diving with an apex predator. So all of us get on the boat, we went out, and they focus on, hey, don't touch the sharks. I know you see that on Instagram, but look, don't touch. There's really no reason to be reaching for the fins, to be trying to, grab the dorsal fin of a shark. So we go in, everyone had a great time. We had probably 15 or 20 sharks with us, both of our dives. We got some cool drone footage, and we had great conditions, and it really turned out to be a positive experience for everyone. Our group did really well. I've taken, at this point, probably close to 30 or 40 people in my life to come dive, and I've had people not get in the water. So our boat was great because everyone got in the water.
Cross the street from your storefront cemetery. Hear me hailing from
Everyone goes through their life doing fun things and having interesting experiences, but doing something like this together is something that not a lot of people get to do. Not a lot of people can say that they've dove with sharks with their friends. I've gotten to do it with my family and friends at this point. So it's definitely a bonding experience that lasts for a long time. A lot of people have the conception that sharks are just man-eaters. They're strictly there to kill you, or that you're only gonna have a negative interaction with sharks. Sharks get slaughtered by the hundreds of millions every year, and the more people that are in favor of keeping sharks alive or have some form of connection to the sharks, the better the sharks are going to fare. I think that people protect what they see value in, and people protect what they love. If people have no emotions toward a shark besides a potential negative emotion, they're not going to be willing to step in and protect them. If people have positive experiences with sharks, they're going to want to protect them. Similar to how you see, in Africa, there's safaris. People have these incredible experiences with animals in Africa, and next thing you know, money gets poured into conservation. People don't want poaching to happen, and you see a net positive gain for the animals there. I think a similar thing is possible in the U.S. And around the world, where instead of just killing sharks or just fishing for sharks, people are going to want to say, hey, I'm going to go spend my money to see sharks and keep them alive. I sometimes I can be a bit of a perfectionist, and I just started liking the pictures and videos that I'm taking. And my wife does a really good job of keeping me grounded in times when we're out there and my camera's messed up or I'm missing a shot, and she'll remind me hey, you're not really just here for the pictures, you're here because you wanted to see animals. The pictures don't really matter that much, and that's how I feel. So every time I get to have one of these experiences, whether I come out with a good picture or not, it's just stacking memories in my own brain. In Alaska, we were having dinner on a beach, and we're sitting around the fire, and I had wanted to see orcas. It was our second to last day in Alaska, and we hadn't seen them in Alaska yet, and I really wanted to see them. And I kept saying to my wife, this is our last shot, blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't really a religious person at the time. And I joked to her, I was all right, I'll pray for us to see orcas. So we go, and we're on this tour, and we're gonna have dinner on the beach, and we sit down, and the whole point was that we were on the one Native American reservation in Alaska. So we get up there, and they have the fire going, they're cooking us elk sausages, or reindeer or elk sausages, irrelevant, on the fire. And we sit down, and they hand out beers. And the lady hands me a beer with an orca on it. And I look at my wife, and I joke, and I'm oh, there's my orca. And she's yeah, see, you got to see orcas. And to preface this, on the boat ride there, we didn't see any orcas. And I asked the captain, I was hey, are we gonna see any of the orcas? And he was we haven't seen them in weeks. They're not around for some reason right now. So I was a little bit bummed. We get to the beach, I get that beer, and the people start to explain, what tribe they came from, what subsect of that tribe they're from. And the main woman was explaining that she's from the killer whale clan of her tribe. So my wife looks at me and kind of bumps me and she's like, hey, there's your second killer whale. And I'm like, all right, great. Like, we're getting every killer whale based thing that Alaska's got to show except the whales. But I was content at that point. I was like, this is great. You know, it's still, you're sitting on a beach in Alaska having dinner. And my wife says to me, she's like, hey, let's go take a picture down on the beach. And so we walk down to the beach. I've got my killer whale beer in my hand, and we're facing up so that the lady can take a picture of us with the water in our background. And the photographer starts pointing and yelling. She's like, look, look. And we turn around and a pod of killer whales comes pushing salmon into the beach. And everyone starts yelling because they hadn't seen them in weeks. And the woman from the tribe was like, hey, they never come in this cove. So I kind of got punched in the face in terms of, like, I wasn't very religious before that. I prayed for the first time in a very long time. I was like, can I just see some killer whales before we leave? Which is such like a ridiculous thing to pray for in the grand scheme of things. And I got hit in the face with the killer whale beer, the killer whale clan, and then a pod of killer whales chasing salmon right up to the shore. That's a moment I did get a couple of pictures, but nothing great because I was obviously not prepared to be taking pictures at that point. But wildlife photography brought me back to believing in something, which was really cool. And obviously I can't really argue that. So when anyone ever asks, you know, like, hey, you don't need to put this in if you don't want to, but if anyone ever asks me, like, hey, do you believe in God? It's like, I can't really not, because I asked for something, dude, and I got punched in the face 3 times.
I love it.
Yeah, that was really cool. My wish would just be that people find what they actually do love, whether it's, you know, working out, whatever hobby, baking, I don't care. Like, find what you love and go do it, as opposed to just watching the years tick off and you not doing it, because I've never met someone that is doing what they love that's upset about it, but I've met 1,000 people that love something, don't follow it, don't chase it, and then look back and say, oh, I wish I had done this at this time, or I wish, you know, I could have taken that leap and done what I wanted to do.
When my time with Billy was over, I realized something kind of funny. Fear doesn't just magically go away. It hangs around, shows up at weird times, and it tries to convince you to play it safe. But watching Billy, just completely in his element, calm and collected behind the camera, swimming with animals that most of us only see in our nightmares, it made me understand something different. Billy wasn't fearless. He just stopped letting fear get in the way. And honestly, when I finally got in the water with those sharks, something shifted. I mean, I was definitely still nervous. My heart was doing backflips. But in between all of that, there were these moments where I caught myself really enjoying it. Like, really, really enjoying it. And that's when it hit me. Maybe fear isn't this big enemy we have to defeat. Maybe it's just part of being alive. So wherever fear shows up in your life, whatever shape it takes, remember this. It's not there to stop you. It's there to challenge you. And on the other side of that challenge is the life that you were meant to live.